streaming and see how we've got here. Start streaming. We'll start recording.
One of them is.
Okay. 3 o'clock.
The original one, and then they built one.
Saturday, what is it? Saturday, June 16th.
That's what you can see from the parking lot.
Probably.
Apple Cider Q&A meeting. I'm sure all of our audio is running, our video is running. Is our audio for the video running? Audio is running. Yep. Audio for the video is running. Hi there. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Are you the guy? Are you the Mac guy?
Yeah, try to be, yeah.
Okay. So I thought I was going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and unfortunately, I left my device in another place, and I got sidetracked on a laptop thing. So I'm leaving now. I have to go home. But I am coming back. Do you come monthly?
Yes.
You do. So when would you be back in July?
Oh, no, we don't meet in the summer.
Oh, this is it?
Second Wednesday of the month is our main meeting.
Here?
No, at East High School.
Oh.
And so that meeting is on July 12th, except July's our picnic. So come to the picnic at Brighton Town Park.
Oh, okay.
And then August will be on the 9th. That's meeting in Parrington because the schools are closed for the summer, so we have different meeting days in the summer.
Okay.
Make sure you remember the website.
Yeah, Apple Cider. AppleCider.org.
I don't know anything. I've been walking around in the dark now for a couple of years.
You just remember Apple Cider.
Apple Cider,
okay,
yep.
Let me see your thing.
.org.
AppleCider.org.
And the page has all the information about when meetings
Oh,
are.
that's great.
And we'll get updated for next month
So
as soon as this month is over.
You have your meetings and then you're here too?
We're generally here the Saturday following the main meeting.
Okay.
So that's the first Saturday after the second Wednesday.
Okay. But you don't?
But we take the summers off.
Okay. All right.
I do.
We have another meeting at my house. I live in Brighton.
Yeah, you don't take the
And,
summers off because it's at your house.
Yeah, so that'll be next month, but it'll be on the.
So that's our Green Apple meeting. So that will be next.
So when you say meeting, I mean, what is it? Is it like learn how to be better at what you do, or?
We have different topics. So at our general meeting, we talked about the Apple's Developer Conference. We had a presentation on how to buy things on the internet. We talked about some of the things you can do with the latest operating system. There's my card. I work for a computer dealer. We also offer paid training there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have my card because I would really honestly like to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It would be awesome instead of walking around in the dark.
So
I
July.
just retired, so I now have time to understand what my life could
July
be.
15th is your meeting.
Yeah, July 15th.
Do you have a mailing list or anything?
Yeah.
Do you live in the area?
I do.
I live in Brighton and 12 Corners area.
Oh, I know that very well.
So it's on the thing, Ashbourne Road, so I'll have a meeting there. We meet at 1 o'clock from 1 to 2:30, and we finish up at 2:30, so we have time to come over to this meeting. But this meeting won't happen next month.
Okay, well, it sounds like the summer's on the iffy side.
There's a flyer about us.
Thank you. Oh my God, I knew there was a life beyond the Apple Store at Eastview. I knew there was.
We've been around for 40 years.
The thing is, we need you to come to the meetings because we're, on critical list. We don't get more people coming.
No, I'm actually.
We used to get 70 every month at our meetings. We're down, 25 or less.
Okay.
So we need people, and we need women, young people, minorities. We got to diversify.
Yep.
So we need.
And it's getting trickier with so much available on the internet. There's fewer people that actually want to physically meet face to face.
I can't imagine that. I mean, I can read directions like
that's the young
crazy.
kids these days. They do everything on the computer and don't even bother looking at each other. They turn a camera on and look at each other through the internet.
We're not important until you need us.
Yep.
Then we're very important.
All right, I'll be back. Thank
Sure,
you.
no problem. Hi there.
Hi, can I just ask you a real quick
Sure.
question? When I talk on the phone to
Mhm.
some people. I hear myself talking.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
You do?
It's a bug in the
call
phone
somebody, and I hear, I think it's on his end, but you know,
We
I'll
get that
say
on.
hello, and then I hear hello.
Yeah, we get
my
that on our
voice.
landline at our office too. It's
So there's nothing you can
nothing
do?
you can do about it. It's inherent in the phone system.
Mine or theirs, or you don't
Yes,
have to?
could be
Mine.
yours, could be theirs.
Okay.
So
I think
if,
it's
if
theirs
you're doing
because-
AT&T to Spectrum, or if you're doing Verizon to Frontier,
I only
you
get
never
it
know.
when I'm talking to one person.
Yeah, I get it with
And
about two.
so I
Yeah.
suspect it's got to be his. Otherwise, I get it all the time.
Yeah, we get it quite often with customers that
Oh.
call our store.
Oh, really?
What we think it is you say something,
Yeah.
and it goes out over the phone and comes out their phone.
Yes.
Their phone hears what you say and sends it back to you.
Good.
So it's like they have a speakerphone on, and their microphone is
right.
picking up their speaker.
Yeah, I bet you.
So we thought that's what was some of it was. If the other person is on speaker, it's possible that the microphone is hearing you
Yeah.
and sending it back to you.
Yeah,
I,
I
But
don't
I
think
ca-
they're on speaker.
Yeah.
I bet 90%. You're right. 90 or better.
Yeah, so it's
Maybe
something
90.
in the way the phone system isn't handling the call properly.
Do
Next
they?
time it happens, ask them if they're on speakerphone.
I
and
will.
if they are,
Yeah.
Ask them to take it off speakerphone and then see if it continues.
What? But do they? Do they hear that I'm hearing an echo back?
I don't think so. Because
Oh.
I tell this guy Tom, I
Yeah.
call, and I said, I keep hearing myself back.
Yeah. And
And he said, well, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
he didn't say, I hear it too.
okay.
You know? So
Yeah.
he says there's something in the system, but I think he nailed it. That
And it
Feedback.
happens on lots of
Feedback.
different phones. It happens on lots of different networks, lots of
Okay.
different carriers.
All right.
So it's not you.
It's, well,
That helps.
You're not the
I
problem.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're
Oh,
not the bug in the system.
Well, I always think it's me. You know, everything that goes wrong.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks so
Sure.
much.
Say, maybe you'll find out something else new.
Yeah, so these types of questions go back for years. Did a Google search, and people are getting the same type of echo on different phones, on different carriers, different networks. Somebody's saying they put tape over their microphone, so then the echo's gone, which means the person at the other end can't hear you either, because you're blocking your microphone.
I think I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah. Maybe your microphone is too hot. I don't know if there's a way to adjust that in the settings anywhere. I know in the computer there's an input volume. Yeah, it's only with some people. It's not everybody. That's why it's not the phone. It's some combination.
That
Of-
points back to the same solution he thought. It's only certain people because they're the ones that have it set up, so it feeds back on itself. The other people don't.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a frustrating problem, and it you have to catch yourself from answering yourself.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I had a call this morning on our landline at the office that the same thing happened to. So I could hear me half a second after I spoke it. Fortunately, the other person, what I almost think is happening is the other person is hearing it then too. So then they talk. So they're not talking over top of me, which is interesting. So if they were trying to talk at the same time I was, then that would be tricky.
Although, times that I've heard it, number of times it's been in the car where I'm talking, it's picking up the thing, and I'm hearing back through the car system, and it might be looping through the phone again.
Let me bring this back over here. Yep. Some people have. What did I just find this one here? Some people think it's because your phone is being tapped, but no, I doubt that. But it's been a problem and goes back for years.
It makes me nervous when I talk, and then I try and talk faster.
It's kind of like when you hear about singing the national anthem in a stadium,
Yeah.
because it echoes back to you and throws you off.
Yeah.
Probably the same kind of thing happening. You could be talking to someone, and it could be going thousands of miles to get to the other end, especially if it has to go up through a satellite and back down again.
Well, then I'll say, do you hear my echo? And they'll say, what are you talking about?
Yep.
That's a no. You mentioned national anthem. I just saw a video of an 11-year-old girl who was blind and autistic singing at some event, sports event or something, singing the national anthem, and she just nailed it. I mean, one of the very best ever.
It was a 10-year-old boy singing "Open Your Heart."
Some amazing stuff.
Yeah. Alrighty, another question?
That's the girl.
Yeah.
Sample that. And I'll stand up.
Yeah.
She starts out a little bit rough, but yeah, by there.
You hear that a lot on, America's Got Talent and The Voice and some of those where someone comes out and looks completely
Yeah.
wrong.
Susan Boyle.
Yeah, like Susan Boyle, but has a wonderful voice.
My new favorite, there's this chubby little Latino boy, about 11. And he did like a blues classic. He came out nervous and sweaty in a suit. And as soon as he started singing, it was all over. He was just great.
Yep.
How do you do?
All right.
Afternoon,
Howdy.
how are you? See ya.
Another question?
You were referring to the Java Adobe malware, and this week I've been getting about a half dozen of those uninvited pop-ups to update FlagPlay. And I'd like to know a safe way to get rid of them, because I'm not alone. I found some websites that give instructions, but they say what the malware bytes, which I do have, they say I should use getware. And I'm leery of installing something else, just like something that I don't want.
The short answer is you can't stop them. They're coming from the website you're on. So don't go to websites is the only answer. It is possible, though, that when you get one of the fake updates, it has installed something in your computer to give you more ads. And in that case, you want to run, thank you for coming, you want to run something that can clean you out, and Malwarebytes is probably the best one to run. There are a lot of fake cleaning programs. Mac Cleaner, Mac Keeper, Advanced Mac Cleaner, Mac Reviver I just found the other day. A lot of companies will come out with fake programs to claim to clean, and they either do nothing or they give you dire warnings and you need to pay them so they can actually clean, or they give you more ads with more chance of getting a fake ad.
Within an hour of buying the new computer, I got a Mac Cleaner solicitation.
Yep.
Your computer's been infected.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even used it.
Right. Nick has a story about setting up a brand new, Dell server, and when they look in the boot log, before the boot complete message, there was a remote exploit trying to attack the computer. So just turning it on and plugging it into the internet. There was a statistic for a while how fast a new computer will be attacked. Was within 27 seconds, I think it was. Because there's so much flying around the internet that as soon as you plug into the internet, you can be attacked within minutes. And it's typically a zombie computer is one of the things. There are infected computers. So over the years, there have been these really nasty viruses, Code Red and Nimda and Blaster, and all these viruses and worms that propagate around the internet. The WannaCry worm, from a month or so ago, and what typically happens is there's some computer somewhere that got turned on and forgotten about, or it's serving a company database and the person in charge of it is gone, and so the computer's just sitting there in the corner and it works, so no one bothers with it. Or people have forgotten about it in the closet. And it's infected with this whatever worm is. And so it's continuously sending out packets looking for other computers to infect. And so I think it was another statistic I read about the amount of internet traffic that is these old viruses. Because there's some old computers, some zombie computers sitting in the closet still attacking. And so when you plug your computer into the internet, one of the first things you need to do almost is install your anti-programs. So install an anti-malware program to stop the malware from getting in. We're a little fortunate on the Mac side that there isn't as much malware and viruses as there are on the Windows side. But that kind of doesn't matter because the fake virus messages are getting much more common and attack everybody. On your iPad, you've been infected with a virus. Well, you can't get a virus on the iPad because it has to be installed from the App Store. So you know it's lying. And the fake messages are so much easier for the bad guys to do that they don't bother actually writing a real virus anymore. The bad guys, generally, they're lazy. They don't want to get a real job. They just want money. So
I could stop that drop down if I click remind me later, but I didn't think, I thought maybe that installed something.
It could. In fact, it probably does. It installs a program to remind you again.
So I click that red button in the red dot in the upper left. And
No?
I get rid of
Well,
that.
maybe.
And I just get the drop down off, but that doesn't do anything other than get the drop down off.
Right. The website you're on is infected, and until they clean themselves at their end, you're going to keep getting the message. Especially if you don't even have Flash installed at all. If you do need to use Flash, and there's fewer and fewer reasons anymore. In fact, I don't have Flash installed on this computer. And what you can do is in your system preferences, there's an icon for Flash, and that will check for updates, and that will download them directly from Adobe properly.
Well, I think I've got that also in Java.
Right, same thing with Java. You get the same sort of fake Java messages as well. And there are so many thousands of fake messages that it's can be tricky to have some sort of blanket instruction on how to remove them, because they're so very common that you're getting different programs doing the same thing. It's the latest threat.
Now, what I just did do is a printout of one of the sites that told supposedly how to deal with exactly this issue, and they say to get rid of all the adware, but I've had adware blocker forever.
Which ad blocker do you have? Some of them are known for allowing companies to pay for ads to get through the blocker. And many websites won't work if you have an ad blocker running. So you have to turn off the ad blocker in order to get to their website. I think,
Those sites, I just don't want to go any further.
yeah, that's one of the things you can do is just don't go there. There was a great example, Forbes won't let you in with an ad blocker.
Yes, that's the one
And
I keep doing, yes.
yeah, and so people would turn their ad blocker off to get into Forbes, and Forbes was serving a fake Flash ad because their server was infected. And so you were protected until you turned off the ad blocker, and then Forbes got infected you.
So then, if you go to the Forbes site, turn off the ad blocker, read what you want, then go reinstall your ad blocker, it's too late.
Too late. Yep. You turn off the ad blocker, an ad gets displayed, and if that ad is malicious, you can get the fake messages, and it can download the fake software.
So I handed that to you in case you might have a suggestion. Should I follow what that says, or does that create other problems?
Well, this is pretty generic. Run your anti-malware program.
We talk about adware. I don't have adware.
I don't know that one, and so my guess is it's Windows only. All of these screenshots are Windows, so they probably don't do anything on the Mac. Yeah, this is all for Windows.
Oh, okay. Wasn't made clear.
Well, when it says Internet Explorer, that has to be Windows
Yeah.
because they stopped making Internet Explorer for Mac about 10 years ago.
By the way, the Milcom Clear browser still has recommends that you use Internet Explorer if you want to look at deeds and mortgages.
Yeah. So some websites recommend one browser over another. Generally, that means lazy programmers.
And you won't use Chrome,
Yep. Um,
which is what I use.
yeah. So, well, that may be too big of a blanket statement. You can easily write a website that works in any browser. You can choose to use browser-specific extensions. So Microsoft has this list of things that Internet Explorer can do that other browsers can't, or can't as easy.
I have to use Firefox.
Yeah. And so that's the nice thing about having multiple browsers is that you can use a different browser. You don't necessarily have to use the one they recommend. And sometimes you can lie. So on actually here on the Apple CIDER website, we have a little piece of code running that reads what browser you have. And so we get a Safari icon and it says, welcome, Safari user. One of the things your browser does is it tells the other end what you are, what browser you are, what fonts you have, what OS you're running. And I can tell it, I can change my user agent and say, I'm running Internet Explorer. So let's say I'm running Internet Explorer. Here we go. I'm running Internet Explorer. Now the other end thinks I'm running Internet Explorer. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it's not if the other end used a specific Internet Explorer extension that doesn't exist in the other browsers. That's getting to be less and less common these days, especially because so many people are going onto websites with mobile devices, where on an iPhone you have to use Safari, and on an Android phone you have to use Chrome. So it's very difficult to not use something else. In fact, Microsoft just got yelled at. Well, not quite. The new Windows 10s designed for schools can only run apps from the App Store as part of their security policies, which means that you can never run Firefox or Chrome on Windows 10s. You can only run Microsoft Edge because that's part of the App Store rules. And people have been asking both Mozilla and Google for years to put their browsers in the Microsoft Store. And in the Apple Store too. It's a similar issue in the Apple Store. And they can't because that would violate the rules of the store. So it's you can kind of see that whoever owns the store can make their own rules. So fortunately, for both Google and Firefox, you can go to their website and download the browser for your computer. But it's not as easy on your mobile device. So I do have Chrome on my iPad, but it doesn't use the Google web engine. It uses the Safari web engine because that's part of the rules that Apple makes.
Oh, I have been using Safari, but I switched to Google Chrome. Should I have?
It's a personal choice. Some people have all. Some people you find one website works better with one browser than another.
I suppose it's more secure, is that true?
No. They tend to leapfrog each other in features and speed. So whoever has the latest browser is always the fastest. So Apple just announced the new Safari 11 as part of OS 10 High Sierra. So it passes all the other browsers in the benchmarks. It's the fastest browser on the market until the next version of Chrome comes out, until the next version of Firefox comes out.
Can I update that Safari without being in High Sierra?
We don't know yet. They haven't announced that yet. Let's see if we can go. Let's see. Probably it still gives us. Yeah, it's still giving us Safari 10. So when they well, partly because I'm not on the beta channel. When the High Sierra comes out, it's out for developers now, and eventually we'll start hearing reports about what works, what doesn't work. I would expect they will released Safari for at least 10.12, maybe 10.11, because that's how they did it with Safari 10. It's available on a couple older OS versions because they want you to be running their own browser, the latest and fastest, which is sort of how Firefox and Chrome came about in the beginning anyway. Internet Explorer was big and bloated and had a lot of problems, and so Firefox came out as the fast, lean, mean browser. And then after a few years, it got big and bloated and slow. So Google Chrome came out as the fast, mean, lean browser, and now they're all fighting each other with the latest, whoever's got the best benchmarks on whatever.
So back on these Flash player drop-downs, there's no way that I can keep them from popping up.
No, don't go to websites that are infected. Is the answer.
And,
Since you don't know what websites are infected, there's no answer.
and if I'm at a website and this happens, there's nothing I can do about it. Then
Close the window and ignore it.
That's really all that can be done.
Yep.
Wow. It's so irritating. That doesn't happen to me.
Yep. If it happens that often, that makes me think you're infected with some other programs that are generating more of the fake ads.
Is there any way of doing that?
Malware bytes.
Okay. I've got it, but it's been so long since I activated it. Like, what would I do?
Run it, update it, and scan.
So I just click on the icon on the top and follow instructions. Is that
Yep.
okay?
So we'll go to. Do I still have it open? Oh, we'll go to the site. Now it's important that you get it from the right site, because there are fake download sites that will give you fake cleaning programs. So you might want to make sure you're at malwarebytes.com when you download it.
Okay.
And we'll let it download. We'll let it install. Nope, this downloaded the Windows version. Okay. So that's not going to help any. So their website didn't check to see what computer I'm running to give me the right version of the software.
What will I do?
Yeah, that's true. Am I still on the wrong agent? No. Okay. So I'm going to download Malwarebytes for Mac. There we are for Mac. And it's downloading. Oh, we'll cancel the Windows one. And now we will open the installer. And we'll drag it to our applications folder.
That's it.
Almost.
See, Los Angeles had that signal on. Los Angeles.
Yeah, a bunch of cities put up bat signals for Adam West's pathing.
It was a suggestion, which won't go anywhere, that all the Batmen should show up at the funeral dressed in their particular costume.
Yeah.
You know, they all had different.
There was a episode of Big Bang Theory with Adam West. He's been on it several times, where they were rating Batman about who was the best Batman, and it was pretty funny, and it made its way around again.
Just as a sidebar here, there was a beautiful image on the PBS NewsHour of the Los Angeles scene, and I did a screenshot. But when I do a screenshot, I can retrieve it only by going to desktop, and then it just says screenshot in the date and time. And is there a way that I can change the title of that screenshot so I can
Yeah,
retrieve it later?
just click on it and type a new title. Just the way you change any file name.
Well, the way I've been changing file names is to put it in the preview and read it.
No,
Don't even
that
go-
creates a different
I
file.
select it on the desktop and you just click and sort of drag off a little bit and it highlights it and then you type in your name.
Oops.
I keep a folder on my desktop called screenshots. Screenshots. So I might have
There it is.
10 or 15 screenshots on the desktop and they clutter up, so I put them all in the folder.
Well, I'd like to be able to have everything like that within a downloads folder with titles so that if it's a screenshot or something I downloaded, I can find it easily without having to go to different
Well,
categories.
would you download this? You wouldn't download a screenshot.
So you could drag it to Donaldsville if you wanted to.
Put Michael Keaton in front of Christian Bale. Oh, please.
Okay, well, I didn't want to divert from the railroad bikes,
David, my
Similar
foot was
thing.
no
You
bell, so
usually
rated.
I came upon this device.
Thank you.
Oh,
Trash
can't even see it.
Keaton's
Yeah,
number
in
one.
the kitchen, we
He
have
brought
the trash.
it to the room. Oh, good on a factory assistant.
Stuff in it.
But I should be at the
Right.
top of the
Oh,
list.
not really, I'm gonna have a trash basket, but
Then you must be an alien. But
Lego,
pretty
Bale.
much everybody does.
Brady
So
Boy
you
Club.
create a folder on the desktop called, I call it desktop cleanup.
That man who personified the words, I'm
All the miscellaneous stuff that came in,
I never
I
had to
put
say
it in
that,
there.
man.
I think it was open that folder and there's everything that was on the desktop. 5 minutes.
Everywhere I
Yeah,
went
no,
on
that's
the
got
TV
category.
show, ball openings.
Desktop cleanup.
Julie
It's in the
Mars.
folder. I put the folder on the desktop cleanup.
I'm sold. You're out of Bale. There's another reason I
Then
should
Well, that's not very good.
Desktop
all
cleanup.
those other guys
July.
have muscles built in their
And I'll put the June cleanup folder.
It's a dark image, not showing up on the projector very well. We ran into the same thing Saturday. All right, so Malwarebytes finished its scan. So when you install it, there is a get that out of the way.
Can we turn off the light on the screen so that we can see the screen better?
No,
Or,
can we can turn off all the lights? I think
well, but you need to be able to see. Well, that's an improvement.
that might work a little bit.
You can see okay.
So you can make sure you update your definitions, and then run the scan, and it will tell you what it finds and remove it for you.
Okay, so when I click on the icon for Malwarebytes, this is what I see,
Mm-hmm.
and then I click on the magnifying glass.
You want to check for updates to make sure you're running the latest version of the program,
Okay,
and then you want to update your signature so it knows about the latest threats.
signature, what is
It's the list of the threats it knows about.
Oh,
So you said you haven't run it in a while, so it probably needs to be updated. And then click the scan button. I know.
the scan button not only scans, but remediates.
Well, then we'll give you a list of what it found and let you remove them.
Okay. And
Sometimes you have to reboot after it deletes some because they've embedded themselves so deep into the system. It has to reboot to remove them.
and how do I reboot in this instance?
Hit the reboot button.
There is a reboot button.
Yeah,
within
it'll
Malware-
tell you if it needs to reboot.
within Malwarebytes.
Yeah. And then run it again to make sure it caught everything. Because sometimes it can't remove one because there's one already there preventing it from being removed. And then changing file names, one of those things that you sort of forget people may not know. Click on it, hit return, and then you can start typing a new name. And I'm going to call this is my Red Max
Does that also
camera.
erase the date and time?
And
Just take it,
no,
when you rename?
it just changes the name. The date and time stays the same.
And so meta information or something
Yeah.
that stays the same.
So this was we had a flight of my rocket where we had a camera strapped onto it. In fact, let me show you. Nope, that's not the right one. So we strapped the camera to the rocket and launched it. You can see it was very windy that day, so we weren't able to fly very high. And it should go off in just a moment. You'll see the wires jump as the motor ignites. Any second now. There we go. I got to trim it down. So it flies, arcs over. So we're joking we need a second camera pointing the other way, and then parachute falls out, or gets ejected. Then it landed, and then it sat there for about 3 minutes while the other people were flying. And then my son went to get it, and there he comes. You can see him. Coincidentally, it landed for the camera pointing toward the crowd, so you can watch him come and get it. And then he turns the recording off when he gets up to the rocket. So this camera can actually do live streaming, so we can watch the flight as it's flying. But it's only Wi-Fi, so it only lasts a couple hundred feet. So you lose the camera view pretty quickly. That one probably only went up 600 or 700 feet that day because it was a small motor and it was a very windy day down at Geneseo. Yeah. So I can rename this one. Just hit return. X camera flight. And hit return again to tell it you're done changing the name. We will often get computers in our shop where files have crazy names, especially stuff that might be on the desktop. What that usually means is someone had accidentally clicked an icon and accidentally hit return and accidentally typed keys. Usually kids or an animal, their pet stepped on the keyboard. So it ends up renaming something. It used to be easier. You just click the icon and it changes the name. But too many people more accidentally changed the name. So they added the second step where you have to hit return to start typing a new name, and then you hit return when you're done typing the name.
Now this process works for renaming downloads.
Any file.
So you click and
You click, hit return, type your new name, and hit return again.
okay. Click, hit return, and then type.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, but you bring it up by using time.
Yeah. Well, you can probably rename it inside a dialog box, but
Yeah.
usually don't need to.
Generally, when I find the whole list of downloads, that's when I click on for an attachment. But then when I click on the document, it attaches. But if I click it, I can't do that return thing. It wouldn't work within that framework. Would it?
It might. No, if you hit return, it will attach that file. But if you right click on it, you can choose rename.
Oh, right. Okay.
Probably the same thing on the desktop. So if I right click on it, yep, there's a rename command. Someone had commented a couple weeks ago on Soundbites that I don't have anything on my computer anyone would want to steal. And that's kind of the wrong attitude, because it's not you they want, it's your computer. Your computer can be used as a phishing site or malware download or pirate site to attack other people. It can be used to send email to other people. It can be used to crack into other accounts. It can be used as a bot to attack other people. It could get your eBay or PayPal or Amazon credentials to steal your money. So it doesn't necessarily mean you. And everybody has something worth stealing. You have a bank account. You have a credit card. And if some malicious software gets into your computer, they can take that. The joke is, let them have my bank account. It's overdrawn, but... Excuse me. But there's a lot of ways to use a hacked PC that have nothing to do with you personally. It's the fact that that is a computer that becomes a point of anonymity for the real bad guy. So the cops show up at your house because your computer did the attack.
I once was doing a credit check on myself and I found another WSA Fisher.
Yep.
And his credit report came up, but it was in such beautiful condition I just let it sit
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that can be very tricky if other people with similar names as you. Women who get married and their name changes, that can mess up their credit report because now there's two names associated with it. My boss, her sister-in-law has the same name and has radically different credit, so they're always having trouble, getting mail meant for each other.
60 Minutes did a thing on identity theft. This was really malicious. This guy stole his son's ID,
Yeah.
and I think they had similar names like senior and junior.
Yep.
And the kid had more trouble than most people would have getting out of him. It took years,
Yep.
to get away from it.
Yeah, it can take years to clear fake or misreported credit from your credit history because you have to prove a negative. I didn't buy that car to get that, defaulted auto loan off your history, and it's very hard to correct maliciously and erroneously reported credit. There are several services. I've been playing with Credit Karma lately. Still can't see the video. You can see the really bright headlights of the car in the rear window, though. So Credit Karma is a free website that will let you see your credit scores. It will show you the stuff that's on your credit history.
I can't see the spelling of it. It's credit with a C
And Karma with a K, yeah. And it works with both TransUnion and Equifax.
And it's secure. That only you can get into it.
It's as secure as the password you create.
You have to create a special password.
Yep.
And if Keychain doesn't ask me to save the password, how do I put it into Keychain?
So Keychain, you can manually add objects. From the new file menu, you can make a new password item, or you can make a new note. So you could use Keychain to make just regular notes. It doesn't have to be a password type item.
File item
from the file menu.
That's only if you're already in Credit Karma.
No, in your Keychain.
Oh, I go to keychain.com or something? Or what?
No, that's a website. You go to the Keychain on your computer. I'm sorry, I must have done it too fast and you didn't see me.
I haven't previously known how to go to the Keychain website.
You go to, it's not a website.
Okay.
You go to your utilities folder and you open Keychain.
And where do I find utilities folder?
From the Go menu
Go, okay.
or in the applications folder.
Okay. And Go does not automatically appear. I have to go to Go somehow.
It's in the menu bar between view and window.
Elementary for the rest of you guys.
Or you can just open your hard drive and open the applications folder and then open the utilities folder.
Okay, so I go to Go, and then
Utilities.
utilities,
And then Keychain access.
Keychain access. Okay, and then
And that shows you all of the saved passwords in your Keychain.
okay.
And you can make a new password item or a new note from the file menu.
It's partly a matter of style. I would never go to the menu to get that. I would just click on the hard drive, click on the applications folder, find the utilities in there, and open it.
So I can make a new secure note, say is my social security number. Then I can add that in the list. So now let's see. If I
There's
go
no
down
keychain on
today.
iPads and
Yes, there is.
right.
Yep. And it synchronizes to the keychain on your computer if you turn keychain syncing on.
And the same with Keychain on the iPhone? Does it
Yep.
sync, and how do I sync?
You go to your system preferences and choose iCloud. And then you make sure that keychain syncing is turned on.
It's on the computer,
Right.
but on the iPad.
On the iPad, you go to Settings, and then iCloud and Keychain Syncing.
If you change your password, the old password survives on Keychain.
No, it depends. Most of the time, Keychain will ask if you want to update the password, and you say yes.
Oh, okay. Because right now I've got something that got 3 or 4 passwords there. And I'm not sure which one still is actually full,
Usually the latest one.
but it doesn't give a date to show which is the latest.
Yeah, it does. Yep. And you can sort by date if you want. So if I turn this mirroring on, so if I go to Settings and iCloud, and make sure Keychain is turned on. So then it will sync the keychain items between all of your devices. Oops, it didn't go into Keychain. Oh, looks like my mirroring died.
I'm on that same page, but what am I looking for here?
In Settings, you have to go to your iCloud settings.
That's what I've been looking for, but I don't see anything.
Should be the first setting in the list.
Airplane, Wi-Fi,
Up
Bluetooth.
above that.
Above that's my name. And
Yeah, that's your Apple ID, iCloud.
okay.
That's all your that's where your iCloud settings are. Now to view your passwords on the iPad, you go into Settings and then Safari. And the mirroring died again. Settings, Safari, and Passwords.
Same passwords will apply whether you're using Safari or Chrome.
No. Chrome doesn't access the keychain. It's an Apple service.
Oh. Yeah, whenever I want to look up the password, I have to go to Safari System Preferences.
No.
No.
You go to Keychain Access.
Oh, I found it through System Preferences, I thought.
Nope.
And then go to Security or something like that.
Nope. System Preferences iCloud to turn on keychain syncing.
I appreciate all that you're teaching us.
All right, mirroring. Safari, and then passwords. And then you have to put in your Touch ID or your passcode. And then it lists all of the passwords that you have saved. You can type a search query in if you need to search for a password, if you've got a lot of them to save. And if I tap on one, it will show me that saved password. This is an expired password, so it doesn't matter that you can see it. In fact, I could probably erase that. And I'll leave it in there as an example.
Yeah, and you can show me.
When you're creating a new account on a website, Safari will suggest a password for you. So a lot of the biggest complaints we hear is people that don't want to have to keep coming up with passwords. Well, Safari will create one for you.
Can you trust it? Or should you
Yep.
need to change it after they created it?
No, the point is it's a long, secure password that you don't have to remember, and in most cases you won't remember.
It's like the New York State Bar Association, I have to have a password to get into my account.
Mm-hmm.
They automatically set up your password and you tell you to change it immediately.
Which is stupid. They should let you pick a password to start with, because how many people will have not changed the password and then other people can break into your account?
You have to allow you to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know better.
Let's see.
Got a kick out of the recent news in Washington. All these guys are lawyering up the whole vice president. But the funniest one is Trump's personal lawyer has lawyered up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't see a list. I was trying to find a list of. So the Safari passwords it generates are usually 25 characters long. a mix of uppercase, lowercase letters and numbers, everything that a good password should be. I have seen some sites where it makes an illegal password for that site. The Safari suggested password usually has a hyphen in it, and some websites don't let you use a hyphen.
So what do you mean by an illegal password?
Some websites don't let you use some characters.
That's why they call it illegal.
Yeah.
Use certain characters like
Which,
the Virgul.
right, which
Violates the protocol.
which is bad programming on their end. They should let you use any character. There is a somewhere.
Like when I try to title a page, and I use the Virgul, the diagonal slash.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called?
VIRGULE. That's the technical term for the diagonal.
Which site is that on? I had a spreadsheet that I found on the internet that listed all of the password policies.
Sound like the beginning of a limerick. I had a password that I found on the internet.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
And it, I sworn it was on my Soundbites drive. It was very interesting that some of the policies were so stupid. How could it have made sense to do at the time? There is a, oops, wrong key. There's a company, what was it? I think it was FTD, the florist. A 1-character password was illegal, but a 2-character password was valid. So they went to the trouble to code a 1-character test to make sure your password was more than 1 character. But they stopped at 1. A 2-character password was fine. Your password should be at least 10, if not 15 characters. That's becoming a new attack. I'm not going to find this document. There's a it's called the homophone attack. In fact, we did talk about that on Soundbites recently. There are characters in other languages that look like English characters. And there we are. Websites are now doing this homophone attack where it looks like you're at one place, but you're not. So Safari has updated to fix this exploit, but last I checked, Firefox had not. Let me see if my Firefox update still has it. So if I go to this website, oh, I must have turned it off in Firefox. So I'm at a website that looks weird, and it's in something called Punycode. Let's see if I can turn it back off again. And it was an extension to allow non-Roman characters to be displayed, because a lot of the world is non-Roman, non-English speaking, so non-Roman characters. Let me find it here. It's about config. Yes, I know. Is it under Puny? There we go, Punycode. So Punycode. So now if we go here, all right, so now we are at a website, www.apple.com. It even has a padlock, so we're at a secure website. We are not at apple.com. They are using code that looks like apple.com, but isn't. And so this is called a homophone attack, because they're using letters that look like English letters but aren't. And so if we go back to Safari, that weird website we were at earlier, there we are. So this is the address we're really at. And that code is being interpreted by Firefox to be that.
How did they do that?
It was an extension to HTML to allow non-Roman characters. The bad guys figured this out, so now they can make a fake website, including a security certificate, because we've been telling people for years, make sure you look for the padlock. This is not Apple. This is a fake website that is encrypted. It was a proof of concept written by this security researcher. Firefox still has the option of allowing it to display the code. Safari and Chrome will only display the code.
Now, you've got that apple.com only for direct to the website. If you type in apple.com, you get the
Right. So it would start with a phishing attack. You'd get an email or a message saying, oh, look at this cool new thing at Apple. You click the link and you're not at Apple. That's why we say never click links. You cannot be assured that it's a valid link.
If you did a mouse over that exact link, what would you see?
Let's see. It's text, so you don't see anything.
If it was in an email.
If we go to the, let me try here. This is, if I hover there, nope, if I hover there, it's showing me apple.com,
Okay.
which in the bottom left corner, it's showing me that I'm going to apple.com, but I'm not. We have an example on our Mac Ave website where we got, we have a how-to blog on security and phishing and some of the stuff that we're running into. And we did one on these phishing and homophone attacks. Where is it? File Vault, guest, fake tech support. Where is we had one on fake PayPal. And of course, I'm not going to find it now. Oh, here it is. I don't know. All right, fake tech support. Maybe I can find it when I get to there. So the example we gave is the website was paypal.com, paypal.com. But if you look really close, the first A was actually an alpha, and the second the com was not an O. It was also an alpha, a Greek letter alpha. But it looked so close that you, at a quick glance, you wouldn't tell that it was a fake website.
And the Greek letter rho, which is
Looks like a
also-
P.
It looks like a P. And
Yep.
same with the same characters in Cyrillic alphabet. It's really a rho. But yeah, it looks like a P.
He must have taken it down. There we go. Email. How to tell your email is a scam. I bet he doesn't have it coded. Yeah, it's under safety, not how to. All right. So this was an email that we got. We actually got in our store, so we used it. So service@paypal.com, right? And there's a problem in your account. Someone tried to log into your account. Oh my God, I better stop them from breaking into my account. No. This is the attack of someone breaking into your account. So first of all, spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes are a sure sign. Most of the bad guys are not native English speakers. So you're going to find lots of spelling and grammar mistakes. Logos aren't going to be right, which is especially ironic because it would take 10 seconds to get the right logo to put in the message. Yeah. And if you look, so they were using that support, that XN hyphen, that's that Punycode homophone attack we were just talking about. So most of your browsers would display paypal.com instead of the real website address. And so you might think, oh, I'll click the unsubscribe link because I don't want email from them anymore. Well, it didn't go to PayPal, that's for sure. So that's another thing that's wrong.
But unsubscribe doesn't necessarily take you to unsubscribe.
Right. So never click unsubscribe. So here, these P's could be rows, not a P. And this O is actually an alpha, Greek alpha. So if you look really close, you can see the error. But most people don't look that close. And this is actually the name field. It's not the email address field. This down here is the actual email address field, which I think he talks about. Yeah, so that's the actual address. The other one is just the name. You can put anything you want in the name field. In fact, you can put anything you want in the return address field. Just like when you mail a postal letter, put anything you want on the address field. That's how the bad guys work it. So I put whitehouse.gov as my return address, and you think, oh my God, the White House sent me a letter. No. Don't trust the return address.
I would put the actual return address either.
Yeah. Have a nice one. So it's becoming harder and harder to trust anything you see on the internet. Even before, the bad guys were bad enough, but now we've got people intentionally creating fake websites and mixing in enough real information in the middle of the fake information that you can't tell which is which. I read about a company that will send out test messages to their employees with fake links in them. So whoever clicks the link, then they say, well, you need more training, don't click links. And I read about this one where it was a survey to win like a $100 Amazon gift card. And the person calls up tech support and says, I got this email about a survey, and when I click the link, there's no survey. So, well, yeah, you're not supposed to click links. We have to teach you better. Yeah, but I want the survey. There is no survey. It was a test. Yeah, but I want the survey. I want to win the card. There is no survey. It was a test. You failed. You continue to fail. But I want the survey. No.
In this last week, I don't remember who the characters were, but it was like in one of the meetings when they were interviewing Rosenstein or something like that. One of the senators mentioned phishing, and he would spell it. He said with PH, and he was totally. You could tell by the way he talked about it that it was totally oblivious to the whole concept of phishing.
Yep.
He had no idea where phishing came from. Never heard of the band.
Yep.
And it was just.
Yep. Here's some of the fake email I've gotten and just kept as a example. Here attached is the offer I was talking about. Well, your first instinct is, well, you must have sent it to the wrong person because you weren't talking with me about it. So you want to click the link and tell the person they were wrong. No. Don't click the link. They're trying to phish you. There's another one that, no. Some of these are just so weak. They put no effort into it. So this is a malicious PDF that you're supposed to open. And that's how we think the WannaCry virus, the worm got in, was a phishing email. And once that somebody opened the phishing email on one computer, it attacked every computer on that network. 90% of Britain's hospitals were shut down because they're all linked. And so one person in Britain opened this email, and every hospital computer got infected and shut down. Some of them are getting sneakier. This one's pretty good. There aren't that many mistakes. There aren't many spelling errors. But if I point to that link where it wants me to sign in, that's a fake website. So we can tell that's fake. That's not going to apple.com. But at least they went and grabbed the real icon. Here, undeliverable. This is a very common problem around the holidays. You get a letter from or an email from the UPS or post office. Now, this came from the UPS post office. Yeah. So that's both UPS and the USPS got together, and now we have the UPS post office, right? No. This one was pretty good. Again, they used the right Apple logo. They give us an unsubscribe link. Again, going to the wrong place. Now here, at least, they didn't even put their own a fake Apple message. So I wonder who that is in Starling Peak at North Las Vegas, Nevada. And are they stupid enough to have put their own real address in there accidentally? This one got sent directly to the CIDER website. So there's a lot of these that get sent to just random emails. So same thing with fake ads. You're going to get these fake emails. There's nothing you can do about it. You get junk mail in your postal box every day. There's nothing you can do about it. It's illegal. Yeah. Doesn't stop the bad guys. If, what is it? If spam is illegal and only the outlaws will have spam. Hi there. Welcome. Yeah, pull up a chair. You have to be especially wary of the ones that say to come from Amazon or PayPal or eBay, Apple, your Apple ID. Anything that has money behind it, the bad guys are going to try to attack. And so if somebody else gets the password for your Amazon account, they'll run up all your credit cards.
I got a warning, allegedly from Apple,
Yep.
that my password was used to make a purchase
Mm-hmm.
in the Apple Store.
And if you want to cancel this purchase, click here kind of thing sometimes.
I made no purchase. I went to the Apple Store directly. I couldn't find any record of a purchase.
And sometimes they don't even bother hiding themselves. So this one is supposedly from Citibank. Click here. This is actually an image file. It's not even text. But it didn't come from Citibank. It says it came from vccs.edu, so some school. Somebody at a school might have sent it to me. So they didn't even bother hiding their return address. Or they may have hidden their return address and put someone else's return address in. So don't trust any message, even if it comes from someone you know, because they could be infected. No. So it's becoming harder and harder to know what's good and what's bad. Now, Bob Taylor, member of the club, under an amazing coincidence, he brought his computer into my shop for repair, and the day he took it home, he got a fake email that didn't come from Apple. Now, this is another way that they're kind of sneaky. So you might know apple.com or mac.com or me.com, but this is me.ic, probably Iceland. Every country has their own 2-character code. So this is not apple.com. Another way to know it's fake, even though it has a real logo on it. They at least went to the trouble to get a real logo. But it's a fake message going to a fake website, trying to steal your password. And that's why you don't want to use the same password on more than one website, because the bad guys will get one password, they'll try it on every other website. Or your password will be leaked by the other end. There was a Target breach and lost 100 million passcodes. Home Depot breach, lost 100 million passcodes. So if you use the same password you did on Home Depot, which is a low-risk website, if you use that same password at Amazon, the bad guys are now going to try that password from here and try it over there and get into your money. So there's this website, Have I Been Pwned, where you can track on compromised accounts. So nearly 4 billion account passwords have been lost and recorded. So the bad guys use this list in order to find places to attack. And you can use the list to see if your email address has been lost. So my company email address was lost in a LinkedIn breach and an Adobe breach. And so immediately change your password on any of those services. So that's why you want to use Keychain to save a password differently for every website, so you don't have to worry as much about this kind of attack.
And Keychain is safe.
Mm-hmm. As safe as your computer password. So if your computer password is password, then anyone who sits down at your computer can get your other passwords. Yep, haveibeenpwned.com. PWNED. It's hacker talk for they own your computer now because they have your password.
What's the etiology of it? Do you understand it?
Yeah, it's owned, and
I
you know,
get it, but why
yeah.
E?
I don't know. Usually it's that's not what I wanted. Usually it's a shortened abbreviation to PWN. Bad guys are generally lazy, so they want to use as short a character as possible. Excuse me. In fact, that's one of the jokes about Unix. Most Unix commands are 2 characters because they couldn't use 1 character commands because there'd only be 26 of them. So they know they needed more than 26 commands. So most Unix commands are 2 characters because then you can have a lot more. So I got no one's claiming ownership about when it came out or who invented it. So they take a 3-letter word and turn it into a different 3-letter word as a slang.
So, I have a question.
Sure, yeah.
I go to this website for ebooks,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden something else will pop up, like something else.
Yep.
So I'm supposed to get rid of it.
That website has been infected. They have to clean it at their end.
Okay. So.
And that's getting to be...
It doesn't affect my computer, does it?
It can. If it's a bad infection, it can download something to your computer to give you more ads or other malicious software. So we had talked about that a little bit earlier. So there's a website, Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes for Mac. And that will scan your computer. There we are.
Does she use a Mac?
Yeah, was this on your Mac?
On my iPad.
Oh, iPad. Sorry, I thought you said computer. No, this is only for computers.
Okay.
On the iPad, there are no viruses. There are no malicious software. Every message you get is fake and lying.
But it doesn't affect anything,
Right.
right?
The only way you can install an app on the iPad is through the App Store,
Right.
and Apple vets them before they come in.
Okay.
So the only way that you will get one of those messages is if it's fake.
Okay.
And it means the website you're on is infected.
Okay. But
And-
it doesn't affect mine.
Right, yeah, it won't affect your iPad. You have to wait till they clean the infection at their end.
Right. I've been using my iPad almost more than anything else.
Yep. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people use their iPads now instead of computers.
Right.
They're cheaper than computers, and they do almost everything you need it to do anyway.
And it's safer, I guess.
Because of that. Apps have to come from the App Store. They're vetted before they can get onto the iPad. There have been occasions where a malicious app is found. It claimed to do one thing, but hidden underneath it did something malicious. And as soon as Apple finds it, they remove it. That happens a lot more frequently in the Google Store than it does on the Apple Store. So you're a lot safer than that. What you may run into at some point is one of those websites where it doesn't let you out of the website. There's no close button, there's no cancel, so you've just got that fake message popped up. So what you have to do is go to your Settings app and into Safari, and down near the bottom you say Clear History and Website Data. And so that clears. So Safari and many browsers have a feature where if you open the browser again, it takes you back to the website you were on before. Well, if the website you were on before is infected, you don't want to go back there. So if you clear the website data, then it will not go back to that infected website again. But you still will get the fake messages from infected websites saying you're infected and call this phone number, and then they want to steal your money. There was a new, well, the last new twist a month ago or so was that it would speak at you. There'd be a recorded voice saying you're infected. Call the phone number, call Microsoft support, call if they're a little bit smarter, it will say call Apple support. They almost always say Microsoft support, but you're not running anything Microsoft, so that's a clue that it's lying. So it will say call the phone number, and it actually speaks in a voice to make it sound more annoying and more dire. This week we had a customer came in, and she got tricked by the message. She called the phone number. She let them into her computer to clean the problem out, and they installed Norton Antivirus, the real Norton Antivirus. It was a trial, so it would have expired. So we're wondering, are they getting a kickback from Symantec for every install? Or did they just do it to make the person think they were legitimate? Because Norton Antivirus is a name people know. So, well, we'll install this for you. But they weren't infected to begin with, and so installing the antivirus doesn't do anything except make them seem more legitimate. And so you're fine paying the $300 that they probably want. Yep, sure.
How can I make this larger?
Make your text larger. Okay.
Not the text larger, the screen. So I don't want to see this. So I can,
Oh, turn it.
Oh, but okay. So that's the only way you cannot.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
So the mail program. Oh, I went to sleep here. When you're in your mail program, when you're in horizontal mode, you see a list of messages on the left, and you see the message on the right. If you go into portrait mode, it hides the list, and you see only the message. So the message gets a little bigger. You can concentrate on just that message. You get a little arrow at the top of the screen where you can go back if you need to and bring out your list of messages. So that's one of the programs where depending on whether you're portrait or landscape, you might see something different.
But it wasn't like that at the beginning. At one point, it was just the whole screen, one large screen.
No, mail has always been that way. In landscape mode, you always get that list. In portrait mode, you never do. Mm-hmm. You can make the text bigger in a message. Inside settings, it's part of the universal disability setting. I'm going to search for text size because I never remember where it is. So under general, under accessibility, you can tell it to use larger sizes. And so you can drag the slider back and forth to make the text bigger and smaller. Not every program will support dynamic text, but most of Apple's programs do.
Okay, another stupid question.
No stupid question. There's some stupid answers, though.
I have lots and lots of books.
Mm-hmm.
How do I delete the book?
So how to delete a book?
I want to do it my Kindle.
Unfortunately, it's kind of a tedious process. So you go to your list of books, and you hit the select button in the upper right corner, and then you tap on each book you want to delete, and then you hit the delete button in the upper left corner. Yep. There's also a move button in the upper left corner so that you can create folders of different books so you don't see all of your books on your one shelf. So I can actually, I'm reading this new book series called the Frontier Saga. So I'm going to select those 4 books, and I'm going to say move, and I'm going to make a new collection, call it Frontier Saga. There's 75 books in the series, so it's going to keep me busy for a while. Yeah. But I think he's got 16 written so far. He's cranking out about every other month or so. Another one's coming out. It's designed as a 5-year TV series with 15 episodes per year. And it's military science fiction. and a lot of drama, a lot of action, a lot of space battles, and it's really really good if you like that
Now,
type
how
of
many
thing.
books can it hold? How much data?
There's no limit
No.
to the number of books. The only limit is on to the amount of space on your device, and that's under settings, general, about. So I have 2.5 gigs available out of my 28 gigs on this device. So if you want to see how much each one is using, that is under general and then storage and usage. And if I go to manage storage, it's now going to calculate how much each different thing on my iPad is using. So a couple of games are using a lot of space. My books are the third biggest use of space. Mostly games, podcasts. My photos are generally the biggest use of space. So then you can decide. So if you want to delete, nope, doesn't work here anymore. You used to be able to delete all your books. So if you find an app that you don't need anymore, you can tap it and say delete and delete that app, and then that space will be freed up and given back for other things. And books that you've purchased from the Apple bookstore will stay in the cloud library. So it will know what you've purchased. So you can delete it and then download it again later if you want to read it again. So you can download it again without needing to purchase it again. Okay, I think I have my So when I hit my collections at the top, I have a hide iCloud books. So that's turned on. If I turn that off and then go back to all books, there'll be books here. If I go down a little farther, so all these books that have a cloud icon on them, those are books I purchased that I can download again from the cloud, but they're not on my device taking up space. I find, though, that it just takes up too much bookshelf room, so I hide my iCloud books. One of the neat things about electronic books is they can be updated. So if the author updates a book, you get the new version of the book for free, unless they make it a different book. But most authors will, if they update something in the book, you get the update for free automatically.
Suppose you've got the first edition and you're partway through reading it and you update it, so you get a notification.
Yeah, you can download the now second edition.
You get a notification that there's an update.
Yeah, it was on the purchased icon had a little 1 on it, notifying me there was one update. I'm not sure if it tells you what the update is. I would hope they would put in the preface of the book, new version contains or something like that.
Because I sometimes edit my Facebook posts and people have already read them. They don't know that I've changed it.
It might notify them that you've edited it. I think I've seen that in my feed. I get a notification that somebody edited their post.
And if they haven't, if nobody's replied to it, I edit by highlighting, copying, pasting it into a second comment, and deleting the first one. I just hate
So
to
you
see the word
push
edit.
it back up at the top, yeah.
Well, I just don't want people to think that I had to edit.
Yep. There's sort of a new trend in editing where I don't think Facebook does it. So if you want to change a word, instead of actually deleting the word to put the new one in, it's a strike through. And then the new word, so you can see what the edit was. Which is kind of interesting. You know what they changed.
Well, can you highlight that and use the strike through? Well, that's only a word.
Yeah. So Word does it, Pages does it, a lot of apps do it, but I don't know if Facebook can do it. So here's my new book. If I go to the table of contents, is it going to tell me what's new? No, it doesn't. All right. So I get to start over again. All right. Another question?
I have a
Bob?
question. I've been looking at the passwords here. I rarely use this. And I see my Scottrade accounts here. I see the same account is twice, listed twice with a different password.
Is it the same username or different username?
No, one of them's a mistake.
Yeah, so that's one of the problems with Keychain is it remembers your mistakes too.
Because I've got the account number and I have an extra zero in it.
Yeah.
But it has
So
a
you can-
password, which is different than the password for the real one.
So
I'm wondering if I made this
you
mistake.
probably made the mistake in the username and the password, and then so it saved the wrong one, and then when you typed it in right, it saved the right one too.
Better to put the extra zero in your account number.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So like I've got, for a different reason, but my 192.168.1.1, I have one account admin and another account administrator. Those are two different devices, but it could be a mistake you made when you signed into one of your accounts, remembering the password. So when you sign into an account, you'll get the message, you want to save this password. I wish it would wait until you successfully logged in before you said yes. Because if the login fails and you said yes, then it just saved the wrong password. So then when you get the right password typed in and you say yes, it will update it. But say you typed your username wrong, then it's going to save the wrong username. So that will be in your password list also. So you can go into that list and say, oh, that's a hell of a password. You can say edit and then delete that password from your saved password list. So one of these things that happens is when you're looking through your saved passwords, you're going to find places that you never go to anymore, websites that were years ago, depending on how old your computer is, and if you migrated from your last computer, it brought in all your other saved passwords. So you can go back for years and hundreds of passwords that you may not need anymore. And no one ever gets around to cleaning them out, but now and then you can. It's one of those things we intend to do but never get to it. But it does, to your point earlier, when you go back in to look up a password, which one of these 6, Amazon.coms is the right one? Because you never deleted the wrong ones. So what I'll sometimes do is delete them all and then type it in. You'll got to lose the one you want. So you look up each of the passwords, delete them all, and then try them saying no until it actually works, and then say yes.
My telephone directory on my iPad or iPhone, I have about 2,000 names, addresses, and so forth. How can I tell them I'm reaching capacity there?
There is no capacity of addresses. The only capacity is of the phone itself.
It's infinite.
Yep.
Okay. And how about for photographs that are stored on the phone? Not
Same thing.
transferred to-
There's no limit to anything on the device except the storage limit of the device itself.
And that's what I'm wondering. Isn't there a way to compare what I've got on the device compared to the storage limit?
Yeah, settings general about will tell you how much free space you have on your device.
That's what I'm asking.
Rick?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming.
Did you discuss Amazon's takeover of Whole Foods?
No, we haven't yet. I don't know why they would do that. So the story came out yesterday or day before that Amazon is going to buy Whole Foods. We have a Whole Foods coming to Rochester. I don't think it's open yet. So
We have approval from the town.
we don't know what's going to happen. One of the big question of $13 billion. One of the big questions is why? Why does Amazon want to buy Whole Foods? Does that mean that Amazon is going to start shipping food to your house? And they already do in many respects.
Well, what I've heard was that they wanted you to be able to order online and have a principal place to go to and pick things up.
Right. So there have been rumors that Amazon is opening their own physical stores So you can do same day delivery. You can pick up something, you either get it same day delivery or you can go and pick up something. So this would make sense, buying Whole Foods, so you can order it from Amazon online, and then Whole Foods will shop for you, and then you can go pick it up. That kind of makes sense. But a lot of stores already do that. And in fact, I think Whole Foods already did that. So Amazon now wants a piece of that. Wegmans used to offer curb service, something like that. I forget what they called it. Where you would shop online from the Wegmans app, and then you pull up in front of the store, and someone would come out and fill your car. So someone else did all the shopping, and then they would fill your car for you. Most of the stores now, you can ask them, you go pick up your car and drive up front, and they'll watch your cart to fill your car up.
Well, the Pittsburgh Wegmans has a place you can drive up, and isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you can drive up and they'll load the car for you, but you had to do your own shopping.
Oh, you did have to.
Yeah.
Because I thought that there was a sign when you entered this for that special lane.
Yeah, curbside pickup. And a couple of the Wegmans in town a few years ago did an experiment with online ordering, but it didn't catch on. I don't think enough people did it to make it worthwhile, because they have to hire additional staff to take care of those orders that may or may not come in. So staffing a retail store is already incredibly difficult. You know, how many people are going to come in today? So how many employees do we have to have? Well, on the average Tuesday, we get 1,000 people, so we better have 10 employees. Well, this Tuesday, we had 5,000 people, and 10's not enough.
Wegmans in Pittsburgh offers online
Do they?
shopping. I don't know if it's online or you call them up or, but yeah, you have to see them at the service desk.
So you actually order online,
I don't know.
and
But they'll shop for you.
Yeah, here it is.
That means.
they do. I thought I remembered they canceled that trial. Oh, it's only available at select stores.
That's right.
So in Rochester, Pittsford is the only one. Or if you're near enough to the Pittsford store, so in certain zip codes. Oh, Fairport. Yeah. So that's interesting. So there's a Wegmans in Parrington, corner of 250 and 31. And then the Wegmans in Pittsford is farther down 31, but apparently the Wegmans in Pittsford will drive past the Wegmans in Parrington to deliver your groceries to you.
Well, it says 14620, that includes the U of R campus, and Constantino's Market was supposed to serve the campus, but it didn't work out, and one of the theories is
JetX.
the delivery.
Well, and it looks like they contracted with JetX. I'd heard about some of the courier services that deal with businesses during the day had started doing food delivery at night for stores that don't do their own delivery service. So eventually what became Grubhub, which there's only like 3 restaurants in Rochester that are part of Grubhub, but a delivery service to come and deliver your food. And so Wegmans partnered with JetX apparently. So there's a $26 delivery fee plus a $6 shopping fee, and you should probably tip the driver, especially if he helps carry your groceries into the house for you. $100 minimum order, but that's well.
They don't
It's
want
good.
to encourage it.
Well, I hardly ever get out of Wegmans for under $100 anyway.
$26 just to deliver. A drone could be cheaper.
Yeah.
And of course, Amazon's going into drones for
Yeah.
delivery purposes. And so that would probably apply to the Whole Foods concept too. Is that yes, there's a bricks and mortar store, but it could also be a physical base for a drone system.
Right. And with drone deliveries, immediately the stories were going out about, I'll shoot down the drone and get free groceries.
The drone might be delivering malware such as bots.
Yeah. Or if the batteries fail and the drone crashes on somebody or delivers to the wrong address. there's already a problem. So they would have to use facial recognition to only deliver it to the right person. There's already problems with delivery drivers leaving boxes on the porch of expensive stuff, and it disappears. Although we've seen a lot of video on the internet of people with home cameras now will watch. There's one I saw where it's like 3 or 4 delivery trucks in a row, the FedEx, the UPS, the post office, and then there was a 4th van where the guy walks up to the front porch, gathers up all the boxes, and takes them away. So he's just following the delivery trucks around the neighborhood, picking up everything that got delivered.
Or the UPS man comes up to the door, puts the tag on the door, there's something there, but never puts the tag there.
Yep. Or knocks and doesn't wait long enough. But I feel for them because they're on a time crunch. They have to get so many packages done a day, and if they knock on the door and you don't come, say you might you're upstairs. It'll take you 2 minutes to get downstairs. That's too long for them to wait. They've got 50 more stops to make. But if you sit by the door waiting for them, that 2 minutes you take to go to the bathroom is when they're going to show up.
Theoretically, you could go to their headquarters and pick it up yourself if you don't.
Yeah,
If you're not there.
hold for pickup. Or the one of the new things now is something like the Ring doorbell, which is a video doorbell, and you see who's at your door even before they push the button to ring the bell, and you can say, "Hang on, I'll be right down," because if there's no answer, then they'll leave. So if you try to holler, "I'm coming," maybe they'll hear you. But with something like the Ring doorbell and a 2-way speaker that it has built into it, you can, package protection. You can let them know you're coming, and they'll wait a bit for you. So there's a whole big, it'll ring on your computer or your phone if you want it to. But there is a big issue with what's now being called the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
There have been leaks and there's bots. There's the Mirai botnet, which is mostly DVRs that have been compromised.
The NSA launchers do that way.
Yeah. So one of the security recommendations is to have a separate network for your Internet of Things. Don't put them on your main home network so they can't affect your computer. So say your doorbell is on the public, is on a second network. And most routers these days will have a guest network option. So you can have a separate network for guests in the house who can get to the internet but can't get to any of your stuff, which you want. So put your home camera and your security system on the guest network. So if they get infected, they can't infect your computer either. But that means they still can get to the internet. So you can watch packages be delivered. You can watch people go by. One of even before the internet, BI, the bad guy would knock on your door. If you didn't answer, he'd go around back and break in. So now you can ring your doorbell. You can answer even if you're not at home because your phone will ring wherever you happen to be. So I'm putting the baby down. Hang on a minute. I'll be right down.
That's in the commercial.
Yeah. I'm putting the baby down. Yeah. I'm putting the baby down.
That's a nickname for the shotgun.
I gotta stop laughing.
For the second network, I have Greenlight. You suppose they offer something that splits?
It wouldn't be in your, yes, but it would be in your router, not their router. So
Okay.
with all the internet services, you get a box.
Yeah, Terminator.
Right, yeah, it's a network, optical network terminator in fiber days, or cable modem, or DSL modem. And that router then plugs into your network and gives you all your network services. Generally speaking, we recommend people buy their own router and not rent the one from the cable company. Frontier and Greenlight don't charge you rent for the modems, which is nice. But if you have your own router, then you control what it does. And
Greenlight
most of the
doesn't offer any routers.
right, yeah, you get one computer.
We make recommendations what to buy.
Yep. And that's how it was in the early days of both cable and DSL. You got one computer you could get on the network because that's all we had back then. So if you wanted more than one computer, you bought a router to share that one signal with your multiple computers. And most routers these days, especially when you get up into the at least $75 to $100 range, will have a guest network. So you have a private network that you put your printers on and your file servers and all your home computers, and that has a password. And then you have a guest network with a different password, or even an open network if you want. And the guest network can only get to the internet. It can't get to your local devices.
So my
And
airport router.
right, your airport router will have a guest option in it. Spelled it wrong. We'll find it anyway. And that guest option will let you. There's no picture. The guest option will let you turn on that guest network. There we are.
So it's limited to networks you can create with it.
Yes, you have your private network and your guest network. Theoretically, the 5 gigahertz network counts as a third, but it's the same network as the private network. 5 gigahertz is less crowded than 2.4 gigahertz, but doesn't go through walls as well. So if you're having trouble in your house getting a wireless signal to someplace in your house, try using 5 gigahertz. It may get there better. 2.4 gigahertz is sort of called the junk band because everyone uses it. Your microwave oven is 2.4 gigahertz. So every time you turn your microwave on, your computer might lose connection to the internet, especially if the microwave is between your router and your living room where your computer is. So the 5 gigahertz can be less crowded, but may not go through walls as well. Fancier routers will let you create multiple different networks if you want to. There is a really cool little box, the Ubiquiti Edge router. Edge Router X, I think it is. Yeah, the Edge Router X. This is a $50 box. It's got 1 in and 4 out. And so this gives you 4 physically separate networks. So you have 1 in, that would be from your internet service. So 1 out would be your private network, and you put a wireless router on there for your private network. The second out could be your IoT. You put a second wireless router there for your private network. Your third network could be for your video streaming. And so that doesn't have to mix with all the traffic on your other networks. So you can make 4 physically separate networks to help segregate your router or your network. There are fancy routers in the Cisco and Ubiquiti and the other router brands that can do that in the router themselves, but you're generally looking at many hundreds, if not $1,000.
Scroll up a little bit. I'm just curious. Up. It looks like my HE antenna.
Yeah. Now,
what is that?
This is a wireless router.
Okay.
If you've been around long enough, you may remember wireless routers that had antennas sticking out of them. In fact, there's one in the back there by the printer. Cell phones used to have a giant antenna sticking out of them, and then it became a retractable antenna where you'd have to pull the antenna out, but people kept breaking them off. Then it became a little stub of an antenna, and now all the antennas are inside the device. That's bad from a radio reception standpoint. It would be better to have a big long antenna sticking out of it. You'd get really good reception if you had a big long antenna sticking out of your computer. Nobody wants that. So many routers will still have big antennas sticking out of them to give you a better signal at the other end, pushing it to your computer. Doesn't look as pretty at your end, at that end, but...
Well, mine looks like it's just an HD antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worked flawlessly. But last week, channel 8 refused to come in and couldn't configure. I'm thinking, did something break? Whatever. We had problems like the next day at work, and then it didn't work. And while it was not working, I went up and I just touched it.
Yep.
Immediately
Then your body became more of the antenna.
Well,
So if you remember
I let go and it worked. You know,
Ah.
Actually I moved it. There
they had to
must
move
be
a little, yeah.
a couple of settings. I thought it was just all straight up, but moved forward.
In the early days of rabbit ears and 3 TV stations, you remember trying to position the antenna for every different channel you were on. And that was one of the early boxes that was made. It was a noise generator. And so we'd go down to the student union at college, turn on the noise generator, and the TV would go nuts. Fuzzy picture. And so he'd wait till someone went up to fiddle with the antenna and wait till they got in an awkward position and turn the noise generator off, and the signal would work.
It was a white noise, so they
Yeah.
didn't know where it's coming from.
Yep. And then as soon as the guy let go of the antenna to go sit down, he turned it back on again. And so he would do it 3 or 4 times until they just stood there. Even after he turned it off, they would stay there touching the antenna to keep the picture, and then he'd leave.
Oh,
In the olden days.
they did similar things with rats and Skinner boxes.
Yeah.
You know, they teach them something and then they take it away and they still continue to behave in that way.
Yeah. We're also seeing an increase in what are called mesh routers. Ubiquiti, the Eero mesh router, the Google Home mesh router. Because of the way houses are being constructed these days, and people want Wi-Fi in more places in their house, having one router in your office, which is often at one end of the house, doesn't help the other end of the house. So one solution over the years has been you have more routers. You put repeaters along the way. But the repeating networks have their own problems, and they're a little harder to set up. Thanks. And so this new mesh system is coming out where all the devices will automatically talk to each other and set themselves up automatically. The problem is they become a lot more expensive. So Eero has a 3 router network for $600. So you're paying $200 per router, which is about what you pay for your routers and your repeaters. Google Home is a little cheaper. I think it was $500 for a 3 router kit. No, not Google Home, Google Wi-Fi. They name too much. Here we are. They name too many things too similar. So you have one main router that's wired into your internet service, and then you plug little routers around the house to be able to cover more area, especially if your house has a corner in it or a curve or multiple stories. So like your house, from the basement to the attic, you got 4 stories, 5 stories. So it's tricky getting through all of those walls, especially if your internet signal comes into the basement, which is very common, or one end of the house, which is very common. So trying to get to the other end of the house or from the basement through all the I-beams holding the house up to the top of the house can be tricky. So adding a second router or third router to repeat has been common. And in the latest AC routers, they have a higher strength so they can reach farther. So you may not need to have a repeater anymore. We found that with a lot of our customers in the new Apple AC router. They could replace their old Apple router plus all their repeaters with one new, more powerful Apple router. So we'll see how well the mesh networks, if they can keep driving the price down. And if the one of the nice things about mesh is that if you need another one, you can buy another one. So $129 for one, or $299 for 3. So the Google Home one is a little cheaper than Eero or Ubiquiti. But we had one of our guys got the Google Home, didn't like it, had to send it back. He got much less coverage than he did with his Apple router, which was actually surprising. I wonder if he gave up too soon, trying to get it to work right. But as a techie kind of guy, I would have fought at it for a while to make it work right. But the average home consumer, if it doesn't work, take it back. You shouldn't have to fight with. That's kind of the whole point. For the average home person, you shouldn't have to fight with it. But you end up still needing to anyway.
Whatever happened to the old netbooks?
The netbook class of computer was horribly underpowered. The Intel Atom processor was a really cheap processor that came out, and it was used in what became netbook class computers that were supposed to be $200 or $300 or less, but they ran Windows, and they ran Windows really, really, really bad because the Atom is such a slow processor. And basically, the netbook got replaced by the iPad. And the iPad at $300, starting at $300, does everything a netbook it was intended to do, but does it much better, and basically beat the market. So now what we're seeing are something. Well, the word thin client is sort of coming back. A thin client. So it's a very small computer that you carry around that ties into your bigger computer. We used to call them mainframes and terminals. So your terminal was very, very dumb, but it plugged into the mainframe to do everything you needed it to. So then that became called a thin client because it was cheaper than a full computer because all it did was tie into the mainframe and do stuff. Now we've got cell phones and tablets. They are our thin clients because we do so much on the internet. So, a $300-400 iPad will tie into the internet and do everything you want. And the netbook concept is also being replaced now with the Chromebook, the Google Chromebook, which is basically a web browser in a really cheap computer. And all it does is Google Chrome for the web. And why is my window empty? Because most people do most of their stuff on the web. I look at web pages, I read my email, I read news, I play games. So for many people, a web browser is all they need. And a Chromebook, the Chromebooks start at $199. So if all you want is web browser, and that comes with a keyboard, to get an iPad with a keyboard, you're closer to $500. What, $329 for the 10-inch, say $100 for the keyboard. So around in the $400 range to get an iPad with a keyboard. With a Chromebook, we're seeing a much lower cost of entry. And just like we saw a lot of people using the iPad as a second or third computer for the home, we're seeing people use Chromebooks now. And we're also seeing that in schools. And I'm really annoyed that the Google website isn't coming up. So what happened for a while is schools were putting in computers for all the students. And there was Apple started this push about one computer for every child, starting in middle school and then moving up from there. And it was a $1,000 computer, generally speaking. And then for quite a few years, it was the $500 iPad. Replaced the $1,000 computer in school. So now we can get two for the price of what we paid for one. Now it's becoming Chromebooks. So, $120 for a Chromebook. We give every student their own Chromebook. If it breaks, it's only $100. And if it doesn't, then you've got a good computer for almost everything people need. You've got the web. You've got Google Docs, the Google G Suite. You've got WordPress spreadsheet, presentation graphics, photos. Google's got all that stuff built in. More and more schools and even businesses are using Google Docs. Instead of paying Microsoft for Microsoft Office and Microsoft Exchange, you get a much better price from Google. And so we're seeing the Chromebook is now becoming what's very popular in schools because they're so cheap.
You
There's a 2016 version out, but that's a pay upgrade.
What should I do in terms of, what is it, 365 they're saying?
So Office 365 is Microsoft's subscription service. It's $100 a year, and you get Microsoft Office. But the advantage is you get it for 5 computers, 5 phones, and 5 tablets.
I've only got one computer, one phone. And
But in a family, you might have several people, and so $100 a year isn't bad. The Microsoft Office perpetual license, which is what we're now calling what we used to call software, you pay once, you use it perpetually, is $150.
now that's what I got before, it's
Mhm.
Office for Mac.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's a new version of that which has come out about a year ago. And should I be trying to get that or what?
So Office for Mac, let's see, home. So yeah, Office for Mac or Office for Windows, $150, one-time purchase per computer. So if you have several computers in your family, that can get expensive. The subscription model, $100 a year for 5 computers, 5 phones, 5 tablets, and you always get the new version. So when they come out with the next version, you get it for free as part of that $100 a year. So there's advantages both ways.
I think I paid about $250 for the other, but it includes Outlook. And
Yeah.
I'm not using
Most people don't need Outlook unless you're on a company.
Right, I'm not using it.
Yeah, and so the non-Outlook version is $150. The one with Outlook is $250, which is silly, but yeah, that's how they do it. So if you're used to Microsoft Office, most people are usually better off sticking with Office.
It's primarily Word that I use,
Yeah.
but I like the capability of Excel and PowerPoint.
With the Mac and the iDevices, you get free copies of Apple's Office Suite, Pages, Keynote, and Numbers.
Yeah, I don't want to use that.
They are
Export to Windows.
right. Apple's programs are file compatible with Microsoft Office, so you can write your file in Pages and then export it as a Word file for someone else to read with Word, and that's free. So that has its advantages.
And the other option is you can use
LibreOffice or
open source.
right, or Google Docs. They're both free, and they both create Microsoft Office files. So Microsoft is kind of losing their hegemony. Yep.
Well, yeah,
But if you're used to Office,
yeah.
the most convenient thing is to buy the new version of Office.
And what's the
But that's the
specific-
most expensive thing to do too.
What's the specific product that I would buy without getting the Outlook? What's the name?
Home and Student.
Home Student.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and we sell that at our store too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I had to get the other one used in the world, but you sell this one there. Okay.
Yeah, we can sell them all.
And all it is just a box with the 1 16-digit.
No,
No?
most companies aren't including CDs anymore. One, because a lot of computers don't have CD drives
I
anymore.
don't even think I bought a CD with it. I think
Yeah.
it's just a number.
You used to get a number. Now you have to. So Microsoft is they're claiming they're doing this to stop piracy. I can kind of see that, but it's very annoying. You have to go to Microsoft. You have to create a Microsoft account if you don't already have one. You have to register the product key with Microsoft. Then you can download the installer. Once you install it, you have to activate it with your Microsoft account. So that prevents people from trading serial numbers, because it's not just the serial number, it's the Microsoft account. So if you buy one license, you cannot install it on a second computer because it won't activate. You only bought one license.
And this particular one is a one-time cost over.
One-time cost for one computer, yep.
And it's 2016
Is the current version, yep.
And that's probably a lot better than the 5-year-old version, or is there enough of a difference?
Their website has differences of what's new.
You will have a learning curve.
There will be some differences. But it will be less of a learning curve than switching to a completely different program.
Now, if I were to get this and install it, do I still have the old version in place?
Yes.
So
So it doesn't delete the old version.
as I'm learning, I still got the background.
All right, here we go. So here's their list. They give you more templates. It's Retina compatible, so it looks sharp on a Retina screen. It does touch gestures. You get a new redesigned ribbon. Most people hate the ribbon.
The ribbon meaning
At the top that shows you all your tools. In fact, if you turn on all the toolbars, you don't have much room left to actually write any text because there's so many toolbars. So one of the things the ribbon does is it changes the buttons depending on your context. So when you're typing, you get one context. When you put a table in, you get different buttons. When you put a graphic in, you get different buttons. So it tries to minimize how many toolbars you have to have open at the same time.
Are these two versions compatible with each other such that I'm using the new one?
Yes.
And I'm stuck on something that I knew how to do it in the old version.
Yep.
I can use the old version on the same document.
Yeah, the file format is backward compatible. Yep. All right. So 5 o'clock. We're done for another day, and we're done for the season. Going to take the summer off.
September.
August and July we'll take off. We'll be back here in September. Bob is still doing his meetings. So July 15th will be his next meeting. So can all go to Bob's house if we want.
So Bob's gonna carry throughout the summer.
Bob will carry the torch through the summer. Yep.
Don't get burned.
Don't get burned. Yep. All right. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. This has been an extraordinary amount of data that I'm thrilled to learn.
We'll shut this down. And remember the video file on YouTube if you ever want to go back and watch it again or pick up a reference again.
The best thing you can do, Doug, is to tell other people about apple cider. Get them to our meeting.
Okay. I'll do that. I tried to get somebody coming here today. He wasn't sure he could through in time to get out to Ken Lake with the Elvis Costello concert. You know, priorities.
Priorities, yeah.
Everybody has different priorities.
But hopefully we'll get to joining us. He has both an iMac and an iPhone.
And stop streaming.